stats for losers, man. I don't get involved in that stuff, but.
Angel Rashad Milligan rolling out.
That's a good question.
Brandon, you want one quick question? We can't ask Rashad question.
Hey, Rashad.
That is it. Let me move on to the next thing. 404 Day, man. 404 Day. Shouts out to my hometown of Atlanta, Georgia. Well, I'm from Marietta to be exact. But, grew up largely a part of my childhood and my upbringing in Atlanta. Halfway lived in Atlanta as well with my father, my partner, my father, things of that sort. And, yeah, man, it was a great 404 Day. Great 404 Day. For a couple of reasons. And one of the reasons, man, Julio Jones. Julio Jones officially announced his retirement. He intentionally waited until 404 Day to announce it. And, man, what a career, man. One of the greatest receivers in NFL history. One of the greatest receivers of his time. Hold on, I got to pause this because they're going to get me out of here with that. One of the greatest wide receivers of his time. And the greatest receiver in Atlanta Falcons history. Just a country boy from Alabama, really getting it done. A man of few words. If you ever interviewed him, if you ever talked to him, but he goes out there, he works. He partied hard. He worked hard. He played hard in the city of Atlanta. But at the end of the day, that joker got to work, and he did. He kept the main thing, and he helped bring Atlanta back to the Super Bowl for the first time since the Vic era, 2004 and 2000. Well, technically the year was 17, but the season was 16. And his play will never be forgotten. His heart will never be forgotten. His loyalty to the organization. The way that he left was crazy with Shannon Sharpe live on air saying, I'm trying to get out of there, everything like that. Ever since he got out of there, his career wasn't the same. And it kind of fizzled out in a way where he just ended up sitting from the sideline, figuratively. And, no teams called him, and he just kind of retired like that, kind of like Carmelo. But all in all, amazing career. And I want to give Julio Jones his flowers for what he meant to the city, and a big ups to how he announced it. He announced it in a video on social media, and he's playing Young Scooter's Julio song featuring Future, obviously an Atlanta classic, Atlanta Falcons theme song for like a very long time. And have to say once again, oops, I hit the thing. Rest in peace, Young Scooter. RP, for sure. I got them dirty bird, call me Julio. Julio, soon as a Mayweather, you make it Julio. I said the wrong words. My bad. I apologize. I hope you guys will forgive me. And then Dwight Howard, man. Hold on. Let me pull up some Dwight Howard. Man. Let me make sure I get this right. Where we at? Dwight Howard, man. Dwight Howard, one of the greats in Atlanta history, Atlanta basketball history. We have to respect the greats. From the Atlanta Celtics, arguably the greatest AAU basketball team ever. I know a lot of people will say the Compton Magic can rival them, but or some people might even say Strive for Greatness can rival them. The years of Bronny and Big Jaw and Mikey Williams and Gabe Cupps. But this team right here, this was before the social media era, and they were all really from Atlanta. Like, a lot of people, they be from, with the great teams, they'll be from like Kentucky, and like, how you end up on the team in Atlanta? I don't know. It just happened. But these three right here, they all Atlanta boys, things of that sort. I think Randolph Moore is from Atlanta. Hold on. Let me make sure Randolph Moore is from Atlanta 100%. Before I say all three Atlanta boys. He's from Houston. Where he go? Oh, but he went to Landmark Christian. So he went to high school in Atlanta. So I'll give him that. I always view Randolph Morris as an Atlanta boy. But yeah, man, one of the greatest teams ever. And then the hype as a number one pick at Southwestern Atlanta Christian Academy. And just, man, like, bro was different. Like, and he was always a point guard. I don't know if people know that, but Dwight Howard grew up as a point guard through high school. He hit a growth spurt in 9th grade and had to become a center. And that's literally where everything came from. So if you ever see Dwight Howard bringing up the ball, or, later in his career, his NBA career, when he was shooting 3-pointers with the Lakers and stuff like that and bringing the ball up the court, a lot of people were kind of laughing or like impressed by what he was doing. But that's literally Dwight Howard's like roots, basketball roots and stuff like that, playing point guard. He was extremely dominant at a small, tiny high school in Atlanta, private school in Atlanta, and things of that sort. And just was on Fox 5 all the time. I remember before the draft, and to go number one was a huge steal from Atlanta. And every time he came back home to play the Hawks early on in his career, his entire family would be there. He always make sure his entire family was good. It would be like a section of them. Like he'd take up a whole section after the game and come and greet him and take pictures with him and just catch up with him. And he just loved it, bro. He really loves the city of Atlanta, really appreciates the city of Atlanta. And so that was his rookie year. He was a great rookie, had the dunk, the inbound dunk, if y'all remember, on Tim Duncan. I was muted. Okay, bad. We back in business. My mic just muted for some reason, and I had to plug it back up. But what I was saying was, in his rookie season, if you remember that inbound game-winning alley-oop dunk over Tim Duncan, it was like obvious from a very, very early time. NBA TV will replay his introductory press conference all the time, where the general manager was like, "You don't pass up on guys like Dwight Howard. You got to get guys like Dwight Howard to be a central piece to win a championship." From him. Game one or press conference number one, I want to win a championship for the city of Orlando, for this Orlando Magic franchise. I want to spend my entire career here, everything like that, right? So to see him to go from that as a rookie, kind of with a lot of promise and just a lot of spring, a lot of energy, brace face dude. He had Chris Paul dunk on him, then Kobe dunked on him and stuff like that. That was his rookie year, right? So, but he's still coming up through it. Very, very solid rookie. I believe he won rookie of the year, right? So then, man, I said Chris Paul dunked on him. Chris Paul came out 2005. How Chris Paul gonna dunk on him his rookie year? Regardless, disregard that. We're gonna go back. His first couple years. But boy, I tell you, I don't know what it was, but he made that jump in 2007, 2008. I seen him in the preseason, 2007, 2008 in Atlanta, and I was with my Uncle West. Shout out my Uncle West. And I was like, man, he just looks different, bro. He just looks different. He's just locked in. Like he looked much bigger. He was starting to wear those sleeves, like the little sleeves and stuff like that. And bro went crazy. In the preseason, I'm like, oh man, he took a leap. I don't know what it was, but he just took a leap, bro, from 2006, 2007 to 2007, 2008. So 2007, 2008, he starts dominating. And then we get to the All-Star weekend, 08 dunk contest where he does Superman. Oh man, that just took him. So now he like one of the biggest stars in the league after he did the Superman thing. And then he's like dominating now. Like he was already an all-star 07 in Vegas, but 08 in New Orleans, like bro was really, really him, bro. Like he was really him at that point. And so now he's dominating. And then all of a sudden, the Magic just start dominating. And it's like Jameer Nelson and Rashard Lewis and Hito Turkoglu, and he's surrounded by a bunch of shooters. And they bring over Rashard Lewis in the trade and stuff like that. Or no, Rashard Lewis, he signed with the team. Jameer Nelson is coming along. He was drafted the same year as Dwight. Hito Turkoglu comes along and has the best year of his career. And they have JJ Redick and Keith Bogans and just a lot of like shooters, on that team surrounding Dwight Howard. It's the perfect team for him. They come in 09 and then beat LeBron. LeBron hits his first game winner in the playoffs, buzzer beater. It was a 3-pointer off balance. And people was like, oh, snap, ooh, woo. Nah, bro. Dwight Howard, bro, he was on a different level right then. He was the most dominant player in the East at the time. And they beat LeBron, bro, and go face in the finals. They face Kobe Bryant. Kobe's fresh off of losing. Kobe and Powell fresh off of losing to the Celtics in 08. And they got blown out the last game. So Kobe is like determined, bro. He want to win. He want to beat Shaq. So Kobe has 3, Shaq has 4. Kobe wins, bro. He locked in. They won in like 5 games on Orlando's floor. Man, that man Dwight said, Jameer, stay with me, bro. Let's watch it so we can get motivation to get back here. Them jokers never got back. Not in Orlando with Jameer Nelson. Them jokers never got back. So so hold on. Let me get over it now. So So yeah. So now, you know what I'm saying, they still trying to figure it out, but they dominating, bro, especially against the Hawks. The Hawks, it's an easy sweep. Like it's like they just got the Hawks number. The Hawks can't do nothing with them. Hawks get swept twice, 2 years in a row, bro, by Orlando, and each win is like 40 points. Like they even losing at home. Hawks didn't lose playoff games at home. They did them little half whiteouts talking about bring your own white. No, give the people some shirts. Stop being cheap. So anyway, them folks going with the half whiteouts in Phillips Arena, and they just blowing them out. 50, 40 points. They start booing them. Boo. They asked Joe Johnson, man, how you feel about the booing? He said, well, we could honestly care less if they show up or not. We gonna play our game. Woo, woo. And like Joe, like the fans is what's getting you the thing. So they start booing him. And then Buddy go and sign a $110 million contract. Back then, $110 million was like unheard of. It was like you get 110 if you LeBron, if you Wade, if you Bosh or Dwight or Carmelo Anthony, Derrick Rose, those type of guys. And Joe Johnson got that type of money. So folks is like, all right, bro. So Joe was just, it was no winning with him at that point because it's like you're not winning the championship and you're getting paid like you winning a championship. So that was just a bad part. But all in all, Orlando, even though they was dominating the Hawks, the rest of the East, they running blocks. Boston Celtics, running block. Cleveland Cavaliers, running block now. You know what I'm saying? And after a while, Dwight, he kind of just get frustrated. He had the whole awkward thing with Stan with Stan Van Gundy and things of that sort. He just ends up going to forces his way to LA. He want to go to LA. So he finally gets his wish. He goes to the Lakers with Kobe. You guys know the rest right there. He actually suffered a back injury, but he finished the season through the playoffs because I think Kobe tore his Achilles, if I'm not mistaken, that season. His season, it was like his career altering Achilles injury from landing on Dante Jones's foot in Atlanta. It comes back to Atlanta always. And so Dwight still carried the team and put up a double performance average in that first round series against the Spurs, but they got swept. And people were calling Dwight this and that and that. So Dwight gets out again. He goes to the Rockets. They face the Lakers. That man Kobe, he trash talking Dwight. He said he a quitter. He a this, he a that. They on bad terms. And he said, you soft, bro. And they had the whole fight thing when they was teammates. And Steve Nash was on the team. They was on the cover of Sports Illustrated. Did not go well for them boys. But that was that. He goes to Houston. He finds his joy and love for the game of basketball. Teamed up with James Harden. Them jokers make great runs in the Western Conference, but the West is just too much. They can never get out the West. So that was that in the West. So they tried that for about 3-4 seasons. And then that's the rise of Steph Curry and Golden State. And it's like they start winning the West and they start winning championships. Now Dwight like, dang, what can we do? So now Dwight's at a crossroads of his career. He becomes a free agent once again, probably for like the last time of his prime. He decides to finally go back home to Atlanta. He says it was a God calling and everything like that to come back home. And he changed his number to number 8, which is a heavenly number and stuff like that because it was God's decision to come back home and play for the Hawks. And for the Hawks, he was pretty good, bro. A lot of people don't talk about this. And he was saying the game has changed. Big man need to shoot threes. This is 2016. And he changed his game. He's shooting jump shots. He was working with Lethal Shooter. I think this is how Lethal Shooter really got his start as a social media influencer. He was training with Dwight Howard and stuff like that. And, so he had a really good season with the Hawks. But the Hawks, it just wasn't enough. Originally, the team was supposed to have Al Horford come back. So Al Horford, for the first time in his career, was going to have a legitimate center. And it was going to be Dwight Howard at the 5, Al Horford at the 4. When Al seen that the Hawks signed Dwight Howard, he said, oh, no, F that. Reportedly, allegedly, F that. And he ends up signing with Boston. And then the paper says, always like the crowd at Boston. They're loud every possession, every game. It's not just for the big games. And I remember playing against them and thinking like, man, I want to. So that's when Al Horford became an op. He went to the rivals and like big up the ops rival crowd and stuff like that and kind of down the Hawks. And then like after the scrutiny, he bought a full page ad and said, Atlanta, thank you so much. People are like, nah, damage has been done. So he gets booed in Atlanta every time now. It's just incredible to think that Al Horford would turn heel like that. And he even left Boston, got traded to Philly, went to OKC for a little, and then went back to Boston. So he doubled down on him being it. Anyways, so Dwight was actually good on the Hawks, bro. But they get new management. Travis Sling comes in and he like talks. Dwight, oh man, no. Dwight still got it. He averaged 12 and 10 last year. He averaged a double. He still got it. We could work around him. Boy, them boys trade Dwight to Charlotte to keep him close to home. But you know, his family and Dwight, they're not happy about it because it's like Dwight sacrificed to come to Atlanta. Dwight sacrificed to play for his hometown team and to bring, you know, a superstar to the hometown team. Atlanta hasn't had a superstar. Joe Johnson was an all-star, but he wasn't a superstar. Atlanta didn't have an all-star superstar since Dominique Wilkins in the 80s and 90s. So it's like Dwight wanted to offer that and offer his likeness and his talent to his city to get the city and the Hawks franchise back lit. He doing a lot of community service. He did all the right things. And it's just like, you guys going to give up on me after a year? So they did that. They gave up on him after a year. He goes to Charlotte, puts up crazy numbers at Charlotte, but they're losing. Goes to Washington for a year. He puts up crazy numbers in Washington. Was he in Washington for a full year or just for like a quarter year or something? But then he like starts to kind of become a journeyman. He plays for Philly. Then he goes back to the Lakers. And when he goes back to the Lakers, he wins the championship. And then I think he went back to Philly, I want to say. And then he went back to the Lakers. And now he's just like not in the league. He went over to Taiwan, played in Taiwan, loved Taiwan, embraced it, brought people over there and stuff like that. Brought his podcast over there. Shout out to Snipe Jones, everything. And yeah, man, with all that being said, there's a lot of all off court stuff that goes on with Dwight that people like make fun of and stuff. But overall, man, the man's an Atlanta legend, and he's one of the best players in Atlanta basketball history for sure, and high school history. And at the peak of his career, at the peak of his prime and status and stuff like that as a superstar, when his hometown franchise ain't had a superstar in 3 decades, he decided to take less money, turn down other teams to come back home. And I'll always respect him for that. The franchise didn't give him a fair shot at it, but you know, I always respect him. And for that, he's an Atlanta legend to me. Today, he was inducted into the Hall of Fame as the first ballot Hall of Fame. Give it up for Dwight Howard. Salute to Dwight Howard, man. And another thing I want to say about 404 Day is I saw a lot of 404 Day kind of tributes and stuff. And here's with Julio Jones jersey, perfect for the day. I saw a lot of 404 Day tributes, and this one, it had like no woman featured. And it's crazy to have like no woman featured in a 404. Like, woman didn't contribute to Atlanta. I was looking at Baby Jade was at Young Scooter's balloon memorial, right? Balloon release memorial over there in Kirkwood. And Baby J is one of the more important people just in Atlanta, like right now, bro. Like her, Ferrari Simmons, you know, you can go down DC, Fly Guy DC, DC Young Fly, Manny Supreme, you know, all the homies, My Asia, all the homies for sure, are like very important people to Atlanta culture when you talk about new Atlanta and stuff like that. Obviously, Ryan Cameron always holding it down, Frank Ski always holding it down, Greg Street always holding it down, Big Tigger always holding it down now. He's kind of like a OG in Atlanta. Big Tigger is crazy, right? But man, yeah, dude, like women mean a lot and have contributed a lot to Atlanta. Like even Sierra, bro. Like we not going to shout out Sierra. We not going to shout out TLC. We not going to shout out Escape. We not going to shout out, you know what I'm saying? All these groups and all these women who have built Atlanta. We not going to shout out Lotto for what she's doing right now. Lotto held down Atlanta hip hop on a mainstream level for the past, I would say, probably about 2 years. It was like Savage did the Drake joint, Her Loss. That was like 2022, maybe 2023 at the latest. But after that, it was like no one else. You know, Thug was locked up, Future, you know what I'm saying? People, okay, Future's Future, but it's still, you know what I'm saying? It was kind of like an entire thing, right? It was an entire kind of opening for someone to do something. And I felt like Lotto stepped up in that position, bro. And she don't get a lot of credit for that. So yeah. Like Lotto can get some shout outs. You know what I'm saying? It's some women that do stuff in Atlanta, bro. Shanti Dawes, you know what I'm saying? I could go down the list of some folks. Shout out to Divine over there, you know, gang, T gang, and stuff like that. With 2007. Shout out to Veda. Shout out to, and then, you know, you can obviously go with the current kind of crew that's going on right now of Mercury, Veda, Muddy Maya, Anicia, Caribou. Who else? Spook. You know what I'm saying? Spook just dropped her album, Jalen Josie. It's a lot of people from Atlanta, bro. And Baby Tate. It's a lot of people from Atlanta that you can shout out and give some love to. Diamond, like, you know what I'm saying? Every event we play Nuck if you buck, and they say, "Lady, yeah, we nucking and bucking." Like Diamond can't get no love. Stilettos, pumps, and that club, like Diamond can't get no love. You know what I'm saying? So shout out to the women of Atlanta as well. And 404 Day, I want to shout y'all out and make sure y'all just do. Okay, Elena Del Don,
Steps for losers, man. I don't get involved in that stuff, but.
And Rashad Milligan rolling out.
That's a good question.
We can't ask Rashad a question.
Hey, Rashad.